The Origins of Morgoth, the mightiest of the Ainur. Before time and the physical world existed, there was Ilúvatar, the supreme being who created the Ainur, a host of divine spirits. Among these, the most powerful was Melkor. Gifted with unmatched strength and knowledge, Melkor possessed a burning desire to create and control, traits that would eventually lead to his downfall. Ilúvatar invited the Ainur to participate in the music of the Ainur, a grand symphony that would lay the foundations of the universe. While most Ainur harmonized together, Melkor sought to weave his own themes into the music, introducing discord and chaos. His pride and impatience drove him to seek dominion over the music, reflecting his yearning to assert his own will over creation. Despite Melkor's attempts to mar the harmony, Ilúvatar wove his discordant notes into the greater theme, demonstrating that even rebellion and strife could serve a purpose in the unfolding of the world's destiny. This profound lesson, however, was lost on Melkor, whose resentment and envy only grew stronger. Descent into Arda, the first seeds of corruption, when Ilúvatar brought the vision of the music into reality, creating the physical world known as Arda. Many of the Ainur chose to enter this new realm to shape and guide it. Melkor was among them, driven by a desire to claim Arda as his own. Upon his arrival, he found that his fellow Ainur, now called the Valar, were diligently working to prepare the world for the coming of the children of Ilúvatar, elves and men. Melkor, unwilling to share dominion, began a campaign of destruction and sabotage. As the Valar raised mountains, Melkor leveled them. As they carved valleys, he filled them. As they kindled light, he brought darkness. This constant struggle between creation and destruction scarred the world, introducing turmoil and imbalance into Arda's very fabric. In response to Melkor's aggression, the Valar united to oppose him. Led by Manwë, the brother of Melkor, in the mind of Ilúvatar, and the Lord of the Valar. Despite their combined strength, Melkor's power and malice were formidable, and his attacks caused immense suffering and chaos. The fortresses of Utumno and Angband, havens of darkness. To consolidate his power and launch his assaults, Melkor constructed vast fortresses in the northern regions of Middle-earth. The first and greatest was Utumno, a deep and sprawling subterranean stronghold filled with unimaginable horrors. Within its dark halls, Melkor bred monstrous creatures and twisted beings to serve his wicked purposes. Later, as a secondary fortress and outpost, he built Angband, overseen by his lieutenant Sauron, who would later become infamous in his own right. These fortresses became centers of evil and corruption, from which Melkor unleashed terror upon Arda. Within Utumno, Melkor conducted vile experiments, corrupting many of the original creations of the Valar. It's here that he captured and tortured elves, twisting them into the grotesque and malevolent orcs, mocking the beauty and grace intended by Ilúvatar. He also bred other abominations, such as trolls, wargs, and the first dragons, including the mighty Glaurung, known as the father of dragons. The war for Middle-earth. Valar against malevolence. The atrocities committed by Melkor could not go unanswered. In response, the Valar launched a devastating assault known as the War for the Sake of the Elves. This monumental conflict saw the forces of light and darkness clash in a battle that reshaped the very lands of Middle-earth. The Valar's assault was fierce and unrelenting. They stormed Utumno, laying waste to Melkor's fortresses and armies. After a titanic struggle, Melkor was captured and bound with the chain Anganur, forged by the Valar Aula. He was brought back to Valinor, the blessed realm of the Valar, where he was imprisoned in the halls of Mandos for 3 ages as punishment for his crimes. During his imprisonment, Middle-earth knew a period of relative peace and prosperity. The elves flourished, and the seeds of civilization began to take root. However, the shadow of Melkor's influence lingered, and the damage he inflicted upon the world could not be entirely undone. Feigned repentance and the theft of the Silmarils. After serving his sentence, Melkor feigned remorse and begged for mercy before the Valar. Manwë, ever compassionate and trusting, granted him freedom, believing in his apparent repentance. However, Melkor's heart remained as dark as ever, and he used this opportunity to sow new seeds of discord. Melkor began to spread lies and deceit among the elves, fostering jealousy and mistrust. He targeted Fëanor, the greatest of the elven smiths, who had crafted the Silmarils. 3 jewels that contained the pure light of the 2 trees of Valinor, the source of all light before the creation of the sun and moon. The Silmarils were objects of unparalleled beauty and power, and Melkor coveted them deeply. In a treacherous act, Melkor killed Finwë, Fina's father and the High King of the Noldor Elves, and stole the Silmarils, fleeing back to Middle-earth. During his escape, he destroyed the 2 trees, plunging the world into darkness. From this point on, the elves called him Morgoth, meaning Black Foe of the World, a name that would echo through the ages as the symbol of ultimate evil. Morgoth returned to Angband, crowned himself with the Silmarils, and proclaimed himself the king of the world. His actions ignited the Wars of Beleriand, a series of devastating conflicts between Morgoth's forces and the elves, often joined by men and dwarves who sought to oppose his tyranny. The tragic tales of heroes and the unending strife. The wars against Morgoth were marked by immense bravery and profound tragedy. Numerous heroes rose to challenge the Dark Lord, their stories etched into the annals of Middle-earth's history. One such tale is that of Beren and Luthien, a mortal man and an elven maiden whose love transcended the boundaries of their races. Together, they undertook a perilous quest to retrieve a Silmaril from Morgoth's crown. Against all odds, they succeeded, infiltrating Angband and escaping with one of the sacred jewels. Their actions not only struck a blow against Morgoth, but also became a symbol of hope and defiance against overwhelming darkness. Another poignant story is that of Hurin, a noble warrior of men who was captured by Morgoth during the Nirnath on Oediad, the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. Morgoth cursed Hurin and his family, leading to a chain of tragic events detailed in the Tale of the Children of Hurin, showcasing Morgoth's cruelty and the far-reaching consequences of his malice. Despite moments of victory and heroism, the forces opposing Morgoth suffered immense losses. Kingdoms were destroyed, countless lives were lost, and much of the land was laid to waste. Morgoth's dominion seemed unassailable, and despair weighed heavily upon the hearts of elves and men alike. The War of Wrath. The downfall of Morgoth. Seeing the desperate plight of Middle-earth, the Valar finally intervened directly, launching the War of Wrath, the greatest and most catastrophic conflict in the history of Arda. The host of the Valar, along with the Vanya elves and the Maiar, marched against Morgoth's forces, leading to a battle that raged for decades. The clash was apocalyptic in scale. Entire regions were sundered and submerged, including the land of Beleriand, which sank beneath the sea due to the sheer magnitude of the devastation. The mightiest of Morgoth's creatures, including the dragons led by the terrible Ancaligon the Black, were unleashed but ultimately defeated. Ancaligon was slain by Eärendil the Mariner, who sailed the skies aboard his ship Vingilot, bearing a Silmaril upon his brow. At long last, Morgoth's forces were utterly crushed, and he himself was overthrown and captured. The Valar stripped him of his power, and he was cast out of Arda into the timeless void, beyond the confines of the world. The 2 remaining Silmarils were lost. One fell into the sea, and the other into the depths of the earth, symbolizing the tragic cost and the hope for renewal. The lingering shadow. Morgoth's enduring influence. Though Morgoth was banished, his malign influence endured in Middle-earth. The very fabric of the world had been marred by his corruption, and many of his creations, such as orcs and trolls, continue to plague the lands. The spirit of evil he introduced persisted, manifesting in various forms throughout the subsequent ages. Sauron, once Morgoth's most trusted lieutenant, survived the War of Wrath by disguising himself and avoiding capture. He would later rise to become the new Dark Lord, seeking to continue his master's legacy of domination and corruption. The One Ring, forged by Sauron in the fires of Mount Doom, was a testament to Morgoth's enduring shadow, as it embodied the same desire for absolute control and subjugation. Moreover, the prophecies and legend spoke of Morgoth's eventual return in the Dagor Daggorath, the prophesied final battle where he would break through the doors of night and wage war upon the world once more. In this ultimate conflict, it is foretold that Morgoth would finally be slain, and Arda would be remade, free from the taint of his evil. The true master of evil. Morgoth's story is a profound exploration of pride, corruption, and the insatiable lust for power. As the original source of evil in Tolkien's universe, His actions set into motion the countless struggles and sufferings that define much of Middle-earth's history. His dark secrets and deeds serve as a backdrop for the tales of heroism, sacrifice, and resilience that populate Tolkien's works. Understanding Morgoth's legacy provides deeper insight into the perpetual battle between good and evil that lies at the heart of Middle-earth's narrative. His influence shapes the destinies of countless characters and cultures, underscoring the themes of hope, endurance, and the unquenchable light that persists even in the face of overwhelming darkness. Through Morgoth, Tolkien conveys the profound message that while evil can cause immense destruction and sorrow, it can never fully extinguish the spirit and resolve of those who stand against it. The echoes of Morgoth's tyranny remind us of the enduring struggle between light and shadow, and the eternal hope for a world restored and renewed